Name Richy, and I was asked to read this aloud. The NA member chosen to speak at a meeting needs to be someone who is working and living the NA program of recovery, which is the 12 steps and 12 traditions. In areas where there is not an abundance of NA members with substantial clean time or experience with the 12 steps and 12 traditions, there is the possibility that a group inexperienced in Narcotics Anonymous may misunderstand NA traditions and invite speakers from outside the NA fellowship. There are several ways to avoid this situation. Our basic text, for instance, reminds us that NA members from other areas are willing to drive long distances to support new groups. The speaker helps fulfill the group's primary purpose, carrying the message of recovery to the addict who still suffers. When speaking at an NA meeting, we should be careful to deliver a clear message of recovery by identifying ourselves as addicts recovering from the disease of addiction. It is not necessary to dwell excessively on our active addiction or war stories because we all know what it was like to use. We came to Narcotics Anonymous to stop using, and we are here to share our experience, strength, and hope of recovery. Okay? I'm an addict named Richy, and to read something like this, and to be told to read something like this, and have been invited to share at your home group, I'm honored. You know, because what this tells me is that I have some integrity concerning my recovery, and what it also tells me that I have a message, and I have a Narcotics Anonymous message. See? And to come here and to experience your enthusiasm, because you are enthusiastic. I'm an enthusiastic guy about recovery. See? Because I used a long time, and it talks about not being attracted. I am not attracted to the war story. I don't care how much you used, how you used, where you used it, or even why you used it. It's that you used it and that you're here. See? What impresses me is that when we attend meetings of this nature and we are in our home groups and we discuss your struggle and your affairs on an everyday life-on-life term, daily basis, and how you attain to get on the other side of the struggle, you know, using what we call a God of our understanding, the steps of Narcotics Anonymous, and then you finish your statement by saying that you did not use nothing. That's impressive. See? That's what impresses me. See? This is why I'm here today. We're here to talk about something that, you see, you get called to do all kinds of things in Narcotics Anonymous, but I happen to believe that it's quite honorable to get called to do step meetings. See, because when you're at a step meeting and you're sharing on a step, you're talking about what is the reason why I am not using today. Okay? This is what we're talking about. All right? And look at the step. Somebody must have been looking in my window when my door closed. See? Because we're talking about repeating the same mistake. Right? We're talking about being human, not being of perfection. That means that I'm going to do things clean. One of the things that stands out to me in this step when it talks about the first thing we do in this program is stop using. So you need to stop using before you can come to the process of recovery. When you're in the process of recovery, you don't use. See? When we're in the process of working the steps, coming to attain an understanding of a God as I understand a God. And by the way, it's only in God's grace that I am clean today and through the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous. And if you do have a problem with God, it is your problem until you can come to understand. We are here to share our experiences with you. See? I came here without those beliefs. I came in here with a dead spirit. Talk about waking the spirit up. I'm in that process of waking the spirit. I haven't gotten to fully awakened yet. I don't want to get to be fully awakened yet. You see? Because once I am fully awakened, then I don't have no more questions. And when you're without questions in here, you ain't in recovery. It's about asking questions. No matter how long you're clean. See? So this is where it's at. And then it talks about, oh, God, it was in here that we say that we stop using and we begin to experience the pain of living life without the use of drugs. So what are you telling me? You're telling me that I'm going to stop using and I'm still going to have something going down. Yeah. Something's going to happen. You mean to 22 years, enough didn't happen to me. I don't understand this. See, this is what I couldn't understand. But you see, it also says at the top of the page, right? We pass over this with a minimum of concern. How true they are. We didn't take a real good look at what was going on here. See? So now that hey, look, 1985, June 5, 85 was my first Narcotics Anonymous meeting. I haven't found a reason to use since. There were no pit stops. I'm not a guy that said, I'm coming around since 1982. I'm clean since 1985. There has been no relapses. See? There's been no relapses. And I'm proud to say that. And I'm proud of my time. See? I really am. I'm very proud of the fact that, hey, look, it ain't gotta impress you, but it impresses the fuck out of me when I don't use it anymore. Right? I ain't got no rubber band under my bed with nothing. I ain't taking nothing. I ain't taking nothing. See? So you can go, well, but I wake up in the morning, I can't believe it. See? This is what it's about. So it talks about here, well, hey, wait a minute. Now, what's going to happen to me? See? After coming out of the first step, it talks you need to fill the void. Right? You need to tell me, I don't have the drugs anymore. I had to get honest enough and cop to the fact, hey, you know what? I'm an addict. I had to put my hand, I had a hard time doing that. When I got here, I put my hand up, I wouldn't say anything for the first 4 months. Matter of fact, I was in the sick relationship, okay? That the girl used to put her hand up for me and say, my name is so-and-so, his name is Richie, and he's got 3 days. But I couldn't do it. She would say it for me, you know? And then somebody came up to me one day and they says, well, when are you going to put your hand up? Because if you don't start putting your hand up in here, we want to know who you are. If we don't get to know who you are not going to stay. You know? And it talks about it over here when it says, we have seen addicts come to our fellowship, try our program. Try, okay? And stay clean for a period of time. They lost contact with other recovering addicts and eventually returned to active addiction. So we need each other, okay? We need to be here, right? So it talks about the second step, talks about hope. This is the spiritual principle that was given to me through sponsorship, through the experienced members in the fellowship. Told me this is a step of hope, all right? It talks about we came to believe. Came. That's a process. That's something that it's enduring. That's something that I had, hey, look, you know what? I'm still in the process because I lose sight of God. I do lose sight of God, by the way. You know, when I get entangled in my struggle, you know, and I got news for you. No matter how long you clean, your storm is coming. It's going to come. See? And what happens here, everybody got one. When it's going to happen, I can't tell you. The experienced member can't tell you. But you know what? We can tell you that as long as you're here and you share and keep yourself in the light, and not in the darkness of it all, and let us know where you're at, where you live, what you do, you got a shot at coming out clean. That's what it's about, you know? But you see, I can't take you home with me. So I had to build a relationship with something other than just the fellowship and the people in the fellowship. That was where God came in. That's when they told me, well, hey, I just spoke to a gentleman. He says, I'm just starting to pray. Well, from the first day I walked in here, whether I was praying or not, and I circled up with you people, I was in prayer. See? When it talked about a moment, hey, the most spiritual part of the meeting, I was told, is the moment of silence. That's when we encompass, at that one particular time, we encompass, in a moment of silence, everybody's on the same plane, the same level of thought, going in one direction. The addict who's still suffering, we want somebody who knows when he's going to come in here, or her. Where? You know? When? Why? We don't know. You know what I mean? But that's how I got here. I got to believe in that. My process in believing is that you've prayed hard enough to get me here. And the bottom line is that, and when I started using it, and as I got through my times of using and acting incarceration, all that stuff that we did, I've been all those places, okay? And I said, God, please get me out of here. I'm in Narcotics Anonymous today with almost 10 years clean. My prayers were answered. Now it was time for me to recognize this higher power on a different level. See? In you. To see the God in you. You know, I ain't got no hold on God in here. You know, I honestly believe I am a child of God. But I got to believe we all are. See, I gotta believe we all are, because it ain't just about me. It's about everybody. You see? So when it talks about a greater power, could restore our sanity. Could. It talks about to be ready to stop attempting anything, right, that's impossible is a step towards sanity. Because to me, it was impossible to stop. I couldn't stop, man. Even when the dealer said, hey, you know what, go up in the room, 3 days don't use, you're okay. I couldn't even get 3 fucking days. I'm not kidding. I remember when they used to do that. Don't do it. Do a day, skip a day, do another day, and you won't have a habit. Right? Come on. That's what they used to tell me. Cocaine is psychologically addictive. Right? Because I was speedballing. I was going crazy. You know what I mean? See? That's where it was at. But it ain't about using today. It's about not using. It's about, hey, look, we talk about the storm. I'll tell you one of the things that happened to me. I'm talking about something that's going to confront you in your recovery, where you will be put against the decision, once again, whether you should use or not use. How about that one? You may want to use, you may not want to use, and you think, hey, you know what, it ain't about, I came in here, I accumulated 30 and 40, it's beautiful. You know what, and that glow and that NA, you're on that NA hype, man, you're like, wow, I feel good, and everybody wants to get, and I'd be in meetings like that, with that glow, and I'd hear a guy in the back of the room, maybe with 8 or 9 years, put his hand up, talk about putting a gun to his fucking head, because he wants to blow his brains out. And I would say, why would he even think like that? With my 40 days saying, why don't you get some gratitude? What's your gratitude? You want to blow your brains out. What's wrong with you? You crazy? See? And then I went on, and here it was. I'm not talking about a year, 2 or 3. I'm talking about 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. I'm talking about getting married in recovery, and the relationship didn't work. Okay? Having 2 children at the age of 40 years old, and being a single parent, and the wife leaving, and thinking that I had it all going on, and going to podiums and talking about great relationships, because I thought I was the guy, because I was the prime example in my area. When they would go, well, Richie's making it, I go, yes I am, so can you. Need a sponsor? All that shit. Then I got invited to the Catskills, and I'm out there professing this elegant message of recovery with relationships. You're gonna have one. Don't worry, it's great. And you can have one. Don't get me wrong. I'm talking about my story. I'm talking about telling the truth. See, it's about the truth. Say, hey, look, you want to get asked to go to play. You gotta tell the truth.
That's right.
The truth. That's it, man. When you're in the first step, man, it's about getting honest. Right. Telling my story, me, not you, not coming off, we share our experiences, but it's about my story. That's See, right. And this is what took place. Clean. I'm talking about clean. I'm talking about being involved. Commitments and sponsorship and all that going on. And thinking that I had a hold on all of this. All right? And then when I got home that day with my bags packed, her bags were packed. I went up the stairs. I said, what's this? She says, I'm leaving you. I said, where are you going? She says, it's not working. I had time over the weekend to think about this. Gee, such short notice. You know what I mean? I said, wow. Here it was. Here I was. Now it started to shake my recovery, man. Things started to bubble up, man, inside of me. It was starting. It was coming, And then I started to say, well, and she left. I said, what about the kids? Right? There's 2 kids with diapers upstairs, man. She says, we'll talk about it. That was it. Now here, the first reaction was, well, disbelief in the grieving process, right? Disbelief. Oh, that didn't happen. What are you talking? You know what I mean? It was like the 7 stages in the grief process. It was disbelief. I was like, what the fuck happened to me? Here I am. Nah, she'll be back. All that stuff. You know what I mean? And being married. I mean, hey, we was reading the basic text together and praying together and all that kind of stuff. The only thing I failed to realize, I was in a different relationship than she was. See? There was no communication. You know? And this is what took place. Here we go now. The power. See, the power had to come into play. The hope. But that hope, that glimmer of hope, dissipated. It was gone now. It wasn't about God. It wasn't about, hey, you know, I was your resident on, let go, you know, whatever went down in the room, you would talk to me and go, Richie, you don't understand. Let go and let God. Let go and let God. That was it. That's all I used to say. And I'd go home, look in the mirror and say, when the fuck are you going to do it? See?
Yeah, come on.
When are you going to do it? Stop telling people that shit. When you don't even have an idea what it means. See? But here I was, confronted. Now, here I am. Now we got a friend who talks about fetal position pain. Here I was, in my house, on my couch, holding my stomach, deciding whether I should use or not use. And then it went like this. It said, you know what? Fuck using, kill yourself. Shoot yourself. Fuck the kids. Ain't about the... I want to leave. I want to go. I want to pack my shit and go now. And the hell with everybody. See? But here's the doubt. Here's what saved my life. The first thing was the telephone. See, when they talk about a foundation in Narcotics Anonymous and they tell you, get numbers, right? That was the first thing I heard. I remember. Now we're taking it all the way back to when I was counting those days. When they told me, get a home group. You know, get 90 and 90. It all came into play. It all made sense at that point, after all that time. See? And it came to me, go to the phone. Because I wasn't telling nobody what was going on. And I wasn't praying. I wasn't doing nothing that I was telling anybody I was doing. I was perpetrating a fraud. I was lying. And I was in self-deception. See, and that's what we do when we get confronted with these situations. We go totally back into self-deception. The illusion of control. I'll fix this myself.
Yeah.
Right? I'll fix it. I ain't gotta tell nobody because I gotta be a look good. I got time. I went around sharing about all the steps so elegantly. Right? Dropping pearls of wisdom. you know, sponsoring people all over the goddamn world. You know, now here I was. You know what I mean? What did I have to give back? But it wasn't about that. It was what you had to give to me. But I had to let you know I needed you. See, now we're talking about the hope. We're talking about being back in the process. Second step, man. That was the second step. Hey, the second step was the period of my recovery that performed the greatest miracle that could ever happen to me in here. The obsession to use was lifted from me. Because as soon as I got taken outside myself, went to Narcotics Anonymous, and Narcotics Anonymous directed me to God, I was no longer obsessed. It worked. And to be out of an obsession is a true miracle in Narcotics Anonymous. You see? It ain't about just the desire, because I still have the desire. That's why I keep coming. That maintains my membership in the fellowship, in the third tradition. Only requirement. I desire it. But you see, you could get all the sponsors, all the meetings, all the steps you want. When you're obsessed, you're going to use. I know I'll use when I'm obsessed. That's it. You can't stop that. Nothing can come between that. So God did what he needed to do for me as soon as I recognized, hey, you know what? God never failed at his responsibility of taking care of me a day at a time. As soon as the day I started to recognize I had one. It was always there for me. See? And there it was, man, in my house. I made the call. I said, I need help. What was it that started it here from a long time ago for me? When I put my hand up and said, I need help. Help me. I need help. I don't know how to do this. Please come. Show me what to do. You know? It wasn't about me coming here and showing you what to do. I had to ask you, please help me. I still have to ask for help. I'm always in the process of asking for help. You see? And this is what happened. Guy on the phone said, we'll be right over. Here's the power of the fellowship. Here's the second step in action. Coming, man. Not one guy, 15 showed up. Came in my house. They says, what's going on? I says, I want to kill myself. I want to die. I don't want to live no more. This is it. It's over for me. They said, listen, we're not going to do it for you, but we'll show you how to do it. You see? You got to come back. You got to come back to the home group. It was important. See, I was going to my home group. I was sitting in the back like I had a cigar and a big brim hat. You know, they can come to me. When's the business meeting? I'll change everything. That's where I was at, right? So here we go. Now I go in there humble. Ronnie always said, hey, look, you know what happened in my recovery the last couple of years? I'm around a long time, but there's been new people now that have come into my life. You happen to be one of them. Ron and Thomas and these guys. See? Enthusiasm. You see, when you're around a while and stagnation breeds complacency. See, when you stay stagnated, you get complacent. And you don't go. So what you do is you reach out. I go to other places. I listen, man. I put new people. I want new people. I want to hear. So I hear this enthusiastic message. I said, gotta get with this. Because I need this. I gotta revive. It's like getting revision. You know what I mean? Pump it up a little more. You know what I mean? I'm getting fucking old in here. You know? My recovery's aging. You know? So I went and I met up with these guys. They're like, hey, and they got that, you know, they got their bobbing and weaving. And I said, all right. You know? Let me get in there. Right? And this is what's happening. So now all these tapes and all these things are going, you know, and this is what's happening here. Geez, I go into my home group. Humble. Now. Humble. Right? Still looking okay, but I'm real humble on the inside. Right? I get in, and it's an anniversary. Right? Now, at our anniversaries, you got no sharing. You got people who share for you and all that. And I said, wow, I got to get with the guys in the parking lot after this. I got to do something. So I sit down in the back. And a dude comes out. Now, the guy's celebrating. I don't know him. I don't know this guy. He comes over. He pushes his way, and he says, excuse me, could you do me a favor? And I'm sitting down in the back, and I says, yeah, well, what can I do for you? He says, would you speak for me? I says, I don't even know you, man. I says, you know, he says, no, I see you come to this group. You happen to be stable in this group, and my speaker didn't show. Could you speak for me? So right away, I went in the back, and I said, well, what story am I going to tell these people? I ain't telling them the fucking truth. You know, once again, bang, it came back. The ego, all that. You know, now I wanna, you see, but when I got up to the thing and I got in front of the room, God said, oh, that's what you think. Right? God said, oh, yes, you are. You know, and that's how it went down. Because my thoughts were nothing but what was going on. And I was compelled to say what was going. I was unbelievable with Tupac. I never experienced anything like that in my life, you know. And it just, and you could hear a pin drop in the room. And then these people that got clean with me, who've been around a while, said, "Hey, we don't know none of this. Let's go. When did this happen? You mean to tell me you've been holding on to all this shit? See? And then everything started to come into play. I got back in. I got pulled back in. See, this is what it was about. The glimmer of, and then there was a hope, and then I had to go back to the first step, and then go back into the second step. See, and this is what took place. See, this is how it works. You know, I am not a humble guy to say, well, how does it work? It works just fine. I know how it fucking works. We got a piece of literature that says how it works. We read it at every meeting. Read it. That's the guidelines. That's where we have to go. There's no way out of here. There is no other way. This is the source. Who wants to debate the book, man? This is what we got. We come out of the source. We come out of what it is. To be in recovery is to be in change. And the only way to change is through the steps. And to be guided through the steps. Be taken. Hey, I've been to meetings all over the place. Many places. Okay? I never seen the steps jump and get you. When they go, you keep coming, they will jump off the wall and grab you. Yeah, well, I never seen that fucking happen. Where do you go? I want to see that. You got to be taken to it. You got to let somebody know that you're in here, that you knew. Please, what do we do? Well, when do you start working the steps? How soon you want to feel better? How soon you want to feel better? You know, how many meetings do I gotta go? I gotta go every day for the rest of my life. How long do you want to stay clean? Those are the questions and the answers to the questions. See? That's what they told me. I still got an answer for everything around here. You know? I used to be tired of hearing it. But you know what? I didn't want to use. I came in out of desperation. I didn't come with 3 cars. I came out of an abandoned building. I was a heroin shooter since 1962. All right? That's where I came from. To come in here and argue with you when you tell me what to do is ludicrous. You know. I don't know. If you're sitting there and you're doing something and you got... Who am I to tell you that you don't know? I got to go with it. I got to go with it. You see? The process to being sane. To be sane. Insanity is using. It's using to stick yourself and smoke yourself crazy. I was talking to a guy last night in Baltimore. I went to Baltimore yesterday. Hey, the guy's telling me about... Hey, you know what? When we ran from the police. I said, the cops! Now they go to cops. Boom! They shoot them. They're crazy. They shoot. They smoking crack. Oh, a cop? Boom! Fuck them. You know what I mean? We scatter, jump roofs, and they'll land on nails and all kinds of shit. We'd be running. You know what I mean? The cops are coming. Right? Now they're fucking shooting them. That's crazy. I can never survive in the street these days. They say, look at this jerk. Hopping. Boom, take his money. You know what I mean? Come to the end of it. Right? After all these years. You know, thinking I was shifty and shady and shit. You know, now I'm not there. You know, some 16-year-old cat put a cap on my head. I don't need this. See, I'd rather go with the struggle of living life. And it's a struggle. And because you're clean, you're not getting no parades. Hate to tell you that, but that's where it's at.
That's right.
But you know what? You get rewarded spiritually.
Right.
All right? You put your head on a pillow at night, you ain't got to worry about nobody coming after you. See? You get with somebody who you love. Get with your friends. Loyalty to friends. Having friends. Not about, hey, you know what? You didn't make it over the fence, I'll bring you cigarettes. Ain't that kind of code of ethic of the street. This is the true deal. This is it. This is where it's at. These are the tough guys. See, I thought I was with tough guys. These are tough. This is tough. To do this is tough. To stay clean. Hey, I lost my kid and I didn't ever got, you know, and all that stuff. But I didn't use nothing. See, that's where it's at. Not taking it. See, second step. You know? Being in the process, restored, means to make, you know, to take something and restore it, like a broken toy. You take it and they fix it and they make it, look what they do for the orphanage. They take it in the prison system when they used to give the toys. They used to fix the toys and wrap them pretty like they were brand new, and you would give it to a child and it didn't matter where it came from. They loved it. They said, they took it with such pride, out of love. It was something given to them. That's what needs to be given to each and every one of us in here. That's what will happen for each and one of us in here. We will be restored. We're in the process of that restoration. See? Going here, coming here, sharing each other's stories and experiences. Sharing how we go to God, some of us. You know what I mean? I don't have to, I used to think I had to be in certain positions in my room, and you know, and I've learned that the God, as I understand God, is a loving and a caring and understanding and has a sense of humor. Good recovery demands a sense of humor. It's about laughing today. It's about having a good time in recovery. Mm-hmm. Not about walking around so thinking that, you know, you got to be so hard on yourself. It's about loving yourself today. Allow us to love you till you learn how to love yourself. See? And we got good people everywhere we go, you know? And when we got out of the car and we parked the car, I said, gee, there ain't a, see, I come from a strong NA place. I'm from the Brooklyn area. We got 300 meetings a week, you know what I mean? And it's strong and it's unified. It's pretty unified. When we talk about NA speakers, I'm staunch on that, bringing people in here that got this message. I don't go nowhere else for this. And when it talked about psychiatry and medicine were not sufficient, if it wasn't then and you went with it, why is it sufficient now? Why is it so good? Because I hear these guys and where I live with all this time, how they tell people where to go and how to go and where they go. I'm right here. I go from here, it works how and why, just for today. I put people like, I listen to what you got to say. See? The therapeutic value of an addict helping an addict is without parallel. Ain't nothing better than that. I laid on a lot of couches. Nobody can tell me how I suffered and what I went through. Inside cocaine psychosis, walking the streets all night long, banging up in emergency rooms because I thought I was in a safe place. As if I go out, at least I'm in the hospital. That's insane thinking. That's insanity. Leave the car open in front of the emergency room. Okay, let's go. Boom. You know what I mean? Take him to the hospital. You know what I mean? It's crazy. That's sick shit, man. I should think like that. That was my frame of thinking. My frame of reference now is all the things that have gone through my life. I have not used anything. Diagnosed chronic hepatitis. I almost died 3 years ago in the hospital. My friend out here in Elizabeth, New Jersey, took me. I was almost dead. You know what I mean? This is where it's at. I didn't use nothing. I've seen people close to me do things. Things have happened to me, for me. You know what I mean? Not using. Being restored. Being put back right. You know? And you know what? When you're in the storm, you're incapable of seeing the other side. You are incapable of finding anything that's going to take you out unless you need someone to bring you there. Somebody got to take you to that place. You can't do it by yourself. You know, I needed to be taken. You need to come. And that's the kind of people I got around me. They take me there. I got to let them know, and they'll bring you there. They'll help you. It's about being helped. See? So in all, to be here today, the people of your caliber, see? I heard about this group many, many times. I never attended this group. You know, I see Ronnie all the time at different places, and you know, we just recently started to become friends. You know what I mean? Because that's how it is, you know? And this is where it's at. We come here on a Sunday. Hey, I knew Dot Talley, Dot T from Pittsburgh. You know, I knew her. And in '95, I was in a convention with her in Washington, D.C., and she always said, Sunday morning is the cold-blooded day of a dope fiend's life. Mm-hmm. She always said that. You know what I mean? She was running money. Well, here we are, 11 o'clock in the morning, man, in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Clean! Here clean. Not using nothing, being okay with each other. See? And it isn't about the messenger, it's the message. Because if you're with the messenger, you're not in the principle. Come on. It's the personality. Come on. And it's not about what language you're saying it in and what color it's coming from. Right. Fucking later for that. I came from Bedford-Stuyvesant. I came from that isolated kind of thing. Prejudice. I came in here prejudiced, man. I'll tell you right where it's at. I was walking around with groups of people, Bed-Stuy riots, all that stuff. Came to NA, they said, it's not about age, race, creed, color. You know, none of that. What are you talking about? See? Closed down household, you know what I mean? One-way thinking, you know? That I learned in here, you know what? And when I was dope sick, it didn't matter what the fuck color you were. Give me some! That's right. They talked about resentments. I never used that language. I just hated you. I hate that fucking guy. I don't have a resentment with none of you. I have a resentment with you. About that. It was about I hate you. I hate everybody. You know what I mean? I hated everybody. I didn't know you. I didn't like you. Period. You know? So you come in here and, you know, and part of the process of just getting restored is the trust. Got to start trusting. You pick your shots. They ain't gonna like everybody, and that's okay. You don't have to. But we all have to respect each other. Because we're all here for the same reason, whether you want to believe that or not. That's where it's at. We're all trying to walk in unification to a direction that we want to stay clean and be okay. You know? But you pick and choose your friends. You know, I pick and choose, man. I got people close to me, got people acquainted. You know, that's how it is. You know what I mean? And then if you stay with that after a while, and you meet somebody who you don't like, after a while, you get to know the person, and you wind up loving them, you just find out there's something that in them that you don't like in yourself. Right? That's how it is. You know, the defects in somebody else. You know? So this is where it's at. This is all we got. You know? I had to write in a second. You know, that's the thing I didn't bring up. I did a lot of writing. I'm very fortunate to be surrounded by a group of people who took enough concern in me and said, this is what you need to do. Right. We wrote about unmanageability. We wrote about it. We wrote about hey, one of the questions, check this out. One of the questions in the second step for me was, find 5 people that are recovering in Narcotics Anonymous who you seem to be getting healthy to you, and ask them what their higher power is. All right? And 4 out of 5 said God. One guy said higher power, the other 4 said God. Majority overrules. Parliamentary procedure. That's how we run our business meetings. I said, well, all right, I'll try it. I'll act as if. You know what? I don't believe there's a God. I know there's a God in my life today. I know it. I cannot deny that. I'll lose sight of it. You know what I mean? But I know that as soon as I went to that source, as soon as I plugged in, as soon as I got with that, everything seems to be okay. I cannot deny that. I get a sense of relief. You know, that's what happens to me. A sense of relief. And I ain't no Jesus freak and none of that kind of stuff. I was in a seminary for 6 months when I came out of the 8th grade. I chucked that big time. Reading Bibles and all kinds of stuff they had me doing. They said, this is the answer, stick them in us. They wanted me to be a priest. Could you imagine that? I couldn't believe that. You know? But you know what? It took me to come here. See, I honestly believe God chooses the bottom of the barrel and carry the message. See? That's how it is. We come from the places we come from. And it doesn't matter where you came from, and you're here, and this is how it is. I believe I'm a vessel. I believe that. I believe that it isn't me, it's I'm doing this work for God. When the phone calls, when Shirley called the house, it was about, hey, you know what? God's asking you, come on over and give us a message. You know what I mean? How you live your life today. And by the way, I do what I say. All right? I ain't here telling you I'm doing something and I'm going home and I'm doing all kinds of other things. It ain't happening. We were talking about that in the hallway. It's about if you're living the way you're living and you're sharing, man, you know from the heart touches the heart. It's a long way from the head to the heart. That's a long road. See? It's a long road. You can come out of your head with all that head knowledge. You know what I mean? But when you're coming from your heart, you're coming from an honest place. And you usually touch the addict who needs to hear it. You know? And one other thing before I close my mouth, what took place this weekend was something that, you know, I had, and this may sound silly to some people, but this is what happened. I have a dog, all right, for 11 years. You know, and when you're a dog in my house, you're like part of the family. You get cooked food. You know, whatever we're eating, they're eating. You know, it's just like that. And my father left my mother a long time ago. She's by herself. She's 70 years old. She lives downstairs. The dog was her companion. See, I had to put the dog to sleep. And I had to hold the dog in the kitchen. And my mother was bugging out. But dig where the program comes into play. I was there for Mom. I was there for her. See, it wasn't about, hey, Ma, she used to wrap the money in the tissue and drop it out the window to me. Don't come up. Here's the money. And I used to go, because it used to fly all over. Yeah, I never used to be able to catch it. Okay, you know. I was like, that's how it was. Now, I hug Mom. I kiss her. I said, Ma, it's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. Go upstairs. I'll take care of this. And my heart was breaking, you know, and I cried. See? And I held the dog, and I kissed the dog, and the dog, you know, they injected it, and that was it. And the guy said, well, what are you going to do with it now? And he said, well, I said, well, I don't really want to see it get put in a garbage bag. I said, I'm going to go upstairs. He says, okay. You know what I mean? Went upstairs and they took the dog out, and my mother's destroyed over this. Destroyed. The next day I went out, I bought her flowers. See? Bought her flowers. Came home and gave her, I said, hey, this is for you. You know, and I'm trying to see what you taught me. Take the people out of it. You can come out of this. You know what I mean? Come out of it. And she's got the disease, but she never used. See? She's got the disease. She never smoked, drank, nothing. But she's got the attitudes. See? But you know what? You allowed me to be okay to hear. See, she got a message. We all got a message. Don't only have to come from here. I can listen to other people. They all got something to say. You know? That's something that takes practice when you can listen. But I was there for her, and that was big for me. That was very big for me because a long time recovery, I couldn't go to my mother and say, Ma, I love you. I could tell you people that I don't even know, I love you. But it started here. It allowed me to go in my house and do that. See? It allowed me. From working here, I did the work at my house. See? I draw from you. I draw from your experiences. I draw from your hope. When you're saying that you ain't using it and something went down, here's my second step is seeing this guy get a year today. Keychains. That's the price. Coming to believe. If I didn't believe in something today, I took a look at this gentleman. He got a year clean. Wow. It's working. See? And it worked for me. You know? So all in all, I'd like to thank you all for having me here. You know, it's definitely an honor and a pleasure to come to New Jersey. I love New Jersey. Jersey's good to me, you know, in Narcotics Anonymous. And I hope to see you at my home group. My home group is on Tuesday night. It's a 6:30 beginners meeting, 8 o'clock step meeting, 1 through 12, all right? It's on 18th Avenue and 83rd Street. And it's called the STAR Group, Start Talking About Recovery Group. And it's the oldest meeting in New York City. It's coming on 13 years. See, we're going to be celebrating 13 years of Narcotics Anonymous, carrying the message in the Brooklyn area for 13 years, that home group. So you are all welcome to come and have coffee and sit next to me at my home group maybe one day. I love you all. My name is Richie. I'm an addict.